Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the second day of our Innovation Summit. I am Sébastien Cruz-Mermy. I am the Vice President of the Digital Asset Management for our Global Service Organization. And I'm very pleased to be with you today to drive this expert training session, where we will focus on digital services and in particular the way that digital is enabling to drive and develop new asset management strategies. And I would like to first introduce my colleagues who are with me on stage today. So starting with Mr. Alberto Lopez, who is a water cycle procurement team leader in Acciona Agua, which is a global company mainly dedicated to development and management on infrastructure and renewable energy. GB Wood, who is the CEO and president of TSIA, Technology Service Industry Association, which is a global advisory firm with a main mission to help technology companies to leverage digital and services to drive profitable growth. And finally, Mr. Miguel Angel Rodriguez, who is the CEO of Gruphelco, a Spanish industrial maintenance company, and as well the vice president of the Spanish Maintenance Association. So this panel will last about 45 minutes. We will keep a short time at the end for any Q&A and exchange together. And before moving forward into the panel discussion, I would like to share with you just a few insights about the topic of today. So, digitization, and as you have probably seen, is definitively transforming the way business operates. Okay, we see more and more companies driving corporate digitization program or initiative, which are facilitating and enabling more and more the implementation of new or advanced maintenance strategies. We often refer to Industry 4.0, and it's enabled by high IoT, sensors, data communication, cloud computing, with the result of being able today to integrate all together a much broader number of cyber-physical systems. So what it means for you? It means that thanks to condition-based monitoring with application of advanced analytics, you can know at your plant, at your operation maintenance team, facility management, you can now get unprecedented insight about the performance and the behavior of your critical assets. So, digitization is really enabling to drive new and advanced asset performance management strategies, moving beyond the preventive usual model to adapt more and more predictive and prescriptive maintenance practices. Historically, we have seen companies used to apply mostly preventive or reactive model, which are very much time-based related and which are at the end quite expensive. With digitization, and thanks to digitization, we can now drive new data-driven asset management strategies, including condition-based, predictive approaches, with the goal to avoid unplanned downtime, reduce maintenance costs, and optimize the OE. Just to share here with you one example of the way we are addressing such new approaches at Schneider Electric. We are leveraging our EcoStruxure platform and architecture to offer our customer with our asset advisor services. Basically, we are collecting your critical asset data on the condition manner and condition-based manner. Aggregate them to the cloud. We analyze them through our asset advisor platform and advanced analytics. And we come back to you through our customer portal and apps with insight, recommendation on the critical assets. Our remote service bureau experts are continuously monitoring and analyzing the behavior and the health of your critical assets, providing you some insights to organize key action to be undertaken before the event occurs. And keeping a close connection with you and your team in order to act as a trusted advisor and expert around your energy and automation system. So to conclude this introduction, I would like to show you one customer testimony, which is really well illustrating the way that this customer has leveraged such kind of new digital services to answer to one of the main operation and maintenance challenges he has. So let's have the video. Sound is okay?
A lot of folks don't realize chemistry goes into everything that they do. It's just part of our life. BASF is the largest chemical company in the world. We're involved in a number of products that go into wearable devices, construction materials, mass transportation, footwear. My name is Lee Perry. I'm an electrical design engineer for BASF. The Beaumont site is part of our agricultural business. Schneider provided the electrical infrastructure for this unit expansion and an opportunity to test out EcoStruxure Asset Advisor. We were surprised by some of the things that we found out. Asset Advisor is helping us to prevent catastrophic failures. EcoStruxure connects assets, so we can look at the health of not just our electrical distribution equipment, but also the motor control centers and the motors that actually drive the process. If there's an issue, we get an email from the service bureau saying, we're noticing this. I could log into it remotely and look at the same information and help troubleshoot that issue. It's a collaboration between us and Schneider where we have that ability to get the data that we need to make the right decisions at the right time. There's a global initiative within BASF, which is digitalization. Being able to have that data is the key, and in the end, data is value. Chemistry goes into everyday products, and digital transformation is streamlining our process so that we can meet our customer needs.
So one concrete example of the way we can drive this kind of new digital services for our customers. So now I would like to open the discussion with our panels, and maybe starting by you, GB. You know, reflecting on the on what we see around the program of Industry 4.0, new digitization initiative, corporate top-down that we can see on different organizations. Can you give us your insight, or how do you see this new Industry 4.0 trend playing out for industry strategy and services?
Yeah, it's a very interesting time. This word digitization is coming up all over the globe, and I think about that very simply, which is, what is software going to do to your business? And software represents both an opportunity and a very real threat. I live in Silicon Valley. I can tell you right now there are 20 venture-backed companies in Silicon Valley right now that you have never heard of that are trying to figure out how to disrupt your business. Absolutely. Figuring out how software applies to your core customer value proposition should be a full-time job for almost everybody in your company. Software is going to fundamentally disrupt the way you create value for customers, and that is a very exciting thing, but it's also, as I said, a very threatening thing. The other thing that's happening is because companies are so focused on, again, reinventing their core value proposition, they are also looking at those functions which are not core to that value proposition. And they are asking themselves, should I be focused my precious resources on these activities, or should I let my suppliers do more around the particular area of expertise that they have? So we're seeing in Industry 4.0, which I would say, by the way, is just the beginning.
Yeah.
Just the beginning. Maintenance is just the beginning. The reality is suppliers are connecting to their products, hardware products, software products, in real time. And they are going to get more capable and more capable of delivering value to customers, and it will be impossible to separate the asset from the services that go along with it over time. So I think, again, figuring out how software is going to disrupt your core value proposition is what everyone should be focused on. And I think companies are increasingly realizing that many of their suppliers can perform a greater and more important role than ever before, thanks to the connectedness between the supplier and the assets.
Thank you very much, GB. That's very clear. And just to rebound on the GB insight, maybe Alberto, can you tell us if you have at Acciona Agua or Acciona globally any program around Industry 4.0 or global digitization initiative?
Yes, yes, okay. About this first question, absolutely yes. Okay, I consider all Acciona Group focuses in roadmap strategies around digitalization. Part of the next steps is in fact what you have shown in the panel. Okay, collaboration with partners such as Schneider. Okay, is key to go to live to 4.0 era. For example, about supply chain and procurement area. Okay, we use and we collaborate together machine learnings to work in different situations like trace and track, or for example, what if, okay, that will provide us integrated planification, intelligence, logistics, visibility, and predictive analysis, of course. Okay, so this will detect or helps to detect any possible interruption in the supply chain even before that it happens, or even before you decided to click to buy any supply or any item you need for your O&M.
Okay, thank you very much. Now it's clear. And maybe Miguel, can you tell us, for a company like yours, focusing their activity on industrial maintenance, how do you see this trend of Industry 4.0 resonating or reflecting within your company and for the customer that you use to serve?
Para empezar, tengo que decir que nuestra empresa es una empresa clásica que se dedica a mantenimiento de instalaciones, entre otras, eléctricas, es multiservicio. Como una clásica empresa de este tipo, pues dedica el 50% de su actividad a mantenimiento y el otro 50% a realizar instalaciones. Atendemos aproximadamente a unos 600 clientes y este mantenimiento se realiza de múltiples maneras. Una de ellas es pues, el tipo de mantenimiento recurrente que se realiza a través de programas que el propio cliente pues, te comunica y te dice, ¿no? Y en paradas programadas cuando tu actividad pues, se concentra en un periodo de tiempo determinado. Bien, este tipo de servicio está condicionado por lo que el cliente te está diciendo. O sea, tú no eres el que tienes la dirección para poder imponerle al cliente lo que tiene que hacer. Posiblemente esta modalidad de empresa de servicios esté mucho más evolucionada y a empresas mucho más grandes pues tengan una relación mucho más directa y mucho más de partner con el cliente y de relación de igual a igual. En nuestro caso tenemos que ir un poco a remolque de sus iniciativas. ¿Qué ocurre? Que el tipo de industria del que estamos hablando no es ni la BASF, ni son multinacionales petroquímicas, ni nada de eso. Son empresas industriales de sectores muy variados, automóvil, agroalimentario, de cualquier tipo, ¿no? Al fin y al cabo, industrias que tienen lo mismo que tienen todas las empresas. Es difícil intentar de imponerles tu criterio, pero sí que hemos tomado iniciativas de forma particular para, de entrada, obtener información de estas instalaciones a través de dispositivos que nos, aprovechando la red evidentemente, que nos dan la información, que nos comunicamos con el cliente, le reportamos los informes, los resultados, etcétera. Lo hacemos a través de programas propios que hemos implementado de comunicación con ellos. Eso lo admiten, pero siempre tenemos un problema. Tenemos que ir a remolque de lo que el cliente vaya diciendo. Por tanto, nuestra evolución va a ir siempre pareja a la evolución del cliente.
Absolutely. Makes sense. GB, maybe reflecting to the insight from our colleagues here. Can you tell us a bit more on the way you see this new initiative and program, which are the ways they are impacting the service, innovation, business model, and some extent the service partner as well? Do you see any disruption that you can imagine to come on the market on that front?
Well, I think broadly speaking, service business models are eating product business models.
Yeah.
It used to be that every end customer bought the asset, owned the asset, operated the asset, and the service was just something that was required by the supplier to maintain the operational performance of the asset. The financial risk was all on the customer.
Yeah.
It was up to the customer to translate the asset that they purchased into something of business value. More and more industries are moving toward service-oriented business models where rather than owning the asset, you subscribe to the asset. And in this model, there are many benefits. One of the benefits is that you can choose to pay for that asset out of a CapEx budget in a traditional way or in an OpEx budget. An OpEx budget, and particularly pricing models which are consumption-based, which is an increasing popular trend, where you pay for what you use of the asset. And so what that allows you to do is as your volume goes up, your costs go up. But importantly, as your volume goes down, your costs go down. And so an increasing number of offers all around the industry are moving to these subscription and consumption-based pricing models. They are growing much, much faster than traditional product, asset-based business models across many, many industries. Because again, it provides flexibility. The other thing, though, as I said, is that because these assets are now connected to the supplier's services around that asset are really going to enable a lot of the business value. This idea that you can think separately about the asset versus the services is going away. The service and the asset will be tightly integrated. And the ability of the asset to do new things and to perform in new ways may be simply a matter of upgrading a software subscription, a services subscription to add new capability. So we are really seeing a huge change in the business model of many large companies, but also in the way that companies think about their suppliers and about who takes the risk in the relationship. The risk is absolutely shifting from the customer to the supplier.
Okay, so thank you very much, JB. Maybe Miguel, reflecting on this insight of the new, the digitization disrupting somehow the service business model, innovation, and some service partner. How do you see that at your company level in terms of new way of driving new business model for your activity? Do you have already anticipated such kind of element in Gruphelco?
Bueno, esto no va a generar una disrupción. Lo que va a hacer es que o te adaptas o mueres directamente, ¿no? Entonces, la única solución es avanzarse lo más posible. He dicho antes que estamos un poco a lo que el cliente vaya haciendo, ¿eh? Hay otros modelos, como el que acaba de mencionar él, que todavía no estamos participando de él, ¿no? Pero sí que es cierto que nos va a obligar a cambiar nuestra capacidad de contratación y nuestro modelo de contratación. Los técnicos tendrán que ser otro tipo de técnicos, los servicios se van a transformar, es decir, no será el clásico servicio que hasta ahora se venía realizando de una persona o un grupo de personas que actúan en su instalación, sino que tendrán que saber cómo manejarla, cómo interpretarla, cómo vincular su experiencia con la nueva tecnología que viene. Es inevitable, o sea, esto hay que hacerlo sí o sí. Y esto lo que va a generar son nuevas oportunidades de negocio. Y por tanto yo creo que va a ser la oportunidad nuestra para crecer todavía más. Lo veo muy bien, yo veo muy interesante. Pero hay que estar ahí, claro, no hay que dormir.
Absolutely. Maybe
Can I pick up on something that you said earlier? One of the fundamental difficulties in this transformation is that in many cases, customers were very concerned about what their supplier knew about their business. They had a view, which is that they did many proprietary things that created unique value, and that if the supplier understood what those things are, that other companies may be able to replicate it. So as you said, they gave orders which you had to follow, right? And what we're seeing is companies are rethinking that decision. I mean, let's face it, all of your companies are a sample size of one, right? You know how you do things, and that's worked great. Suppliers like Schneider have access to a sample size of hundreds or thousands of companies similar to yours. And they see good practices and they see bad practices. And more, they are able to aggregate what is working really well and translate that into value for many customers. That ultimately, at the end of the day, is what you pay a supplier for. You pay a supplier to be able to do something better than you could do it yourself. And with connected devices and IoT, the visibility the supplier has is increasing, and their ability, as I said, to understand what is possible with their technology is going up. If you will not allow a supplier to understand what you're doing, the supplier is not going to be able to deliver the same level of value back, because they simply won't be able to compare you to other companies to see what you're doing well and what you're not doing well. Now, it takes a lot of trust to be able to do that. And it's up to companies like Schneider to make sure that they don't overstep, they don't allow your confidential information to go to other companies. But if you refuse to do that, you will be left behind, or be at risk of being left behind. Yeah. And so this is not just about security, right? Security is one thing. This is really about what you consider to be your proprietary business value, and being worried about that proprietary value being shared with other companies. But I do think companies have got to open their mind to the idea that they need to be willing to share more data with their supplier in exchange for a more valuable supplier who is able to help them extract more value from the assets over time.
Yeah, absolutely. And it drives me to the next question, because, I mean, Alberto, your role is very interesting here as a procurement, let's say, leader at Acciona. What just GB said around the importance of the selection of the supplier within this digitization journey, how do you articulate that in your procurement process, and any insight on that front?
Well, I would say it's essential to have a...
You have to speak in the...
Sorry. As you say, it's essential to have a panel of suppliers in a state of a similar technological maturity. So for us, to take into account the participation of companies such as Schneider is the key. Okay. We established, for example, the first punch-out catalog, okay, in our supply chain, and we work together in detect deficiencies, problems, and find out improvements and new developments also. Okay. Digitalization, like GB says, okay, also change customer-supplier relationships. From a leverage situation to a win-win partnership, okay? From give me the best price to work together to reduce costs, okay? Improve margins and the customer service in a global way.
Absolutely. No, that's making sense. Maybe GB, can you tell us now? We talk about this new business model, okay, which are, let's say, driving disruption on services, around innovation, the way the service partner are also operating. Can you tell us the way that this new business model, what is your view on the way this business model are applying or playing out when it comes to asset management strategies? Any evolution description coming?
Yeah, I think, as I said before, connected devices are going to enable not just Industry 4.0, but 5.0 and 6.0 and 7.0. And maintenance is truly just the beginning of that. And if you think about the past, as I said, the customer owned the asset and they had the responsibility for translating the asset into something of value. And the suppliers were largely blind to what the customer was doing. And if you think about before connected devices, that was even true of break-fix problems, right? The supplier didn't even know the asset had a problem until the customer called them and said this doesn't work, right? And so now we can connect to the device, we can predict, we can prevent, we can be proactive, we can upgrade, we can do all of these things. And that improves the business outcome that the company gets. As you said, these win-win situations, right? But if you think about the logical extension, right, where do we go from here? So now all of a sudden, I can not just help maintain the uptime of the asset, I can see how well the asset's being utilized, what the output is, what times of day the output is high and low and why. And so as a supplier, I can then understand how the asset is translating into, as an example, revenue, or how the asset is translating into the end customer experience, or how the asset is translating into costs. And so what you will see is that suppliers will begin to have discussions where they assume more of the financial risk in the relationship, where they begin to say, as I said before, you don't have to buy the asset, you can subscribe to the asset. The next step is you don't have to subscribe, you only pay for what you use. And ultimately, and we're seeing this in other industries, there are relationships where the supplier is charging only for the business outcome that they produce. If they don't increase revenue, they don't make money. If they don't cut costs, they don't make money. So again, this connectedness of the devices is allowing suppliers to be more comfortable taking on risk because they can predict, they can remotely operate the devices, they can optimize the devices, and they can better tie in to the specific business results of the customer. And so if you can imagine all of your suppliers performing in a manner like that, what it could potentially do to your P&L, what it could do to your customer experience, what it could do to the amount of labor that's required for your business to operate. They're very, very, very big concepts. And as I said before, digital disruption is both an opportunity and a threat. Yeah. And it really, it is something that everybody has to think about because it's happening very quickly. In the IT industry, it is literally happening now. There are very disruptive software companies and what used to be hardware, right? It used to be if you wanted a computer server, you had to physically go buy a piece of hardware. Now you go on to Amazon Web Services or Microsoft Azure, and in about 15 minutes, you have created a software experience which is going to give you computing capability. And that software experience, you only pay for what you use, right? And so if you need more capacity, the web services will dial up capacity. If you need less capacity, they will dial down. And so literally your costs go up and down based on your demand. And so that model is real, and it is moving at the speed of software across many industries. And will literally, as I said, thinking about what software will do to your business is your full-time job. And that is something that we see companies like Schneider and others really believe in this journey and are going on this journey because of the ability to unlock value for customers in these new models.
Okay, now thank you very much.
Maybe to complete.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, to complete the GB point of view. Okay, from our procurement area, it's important to detect the key business drivers. Okay, because it's the good manner to plan a strategy to reducing cost. Okay. Historically, from procurement, we concentrate our efforts in savings to find a better price. Okay. But now we detect the total cost of ownership. Okay. Yes. Okay. And I think this is the way we have to work together with the partners and with the final client.
Okay, no, makes sense, makes sense.
You know, so if I could say, when you walk in this building, on the wall, on the windows, on the outside of the building, are business outcome improvements.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
You know, how much money was saved, how much cost was reduced, you know, all of these things. And the ability to say that this asset and this service combined have resulted in a 14% reduction in power cost or something, you know, to your point, that 14% reduction is a lot more money than the cost of the asset and the service.
Absolutely.
And so procurement becomes much more interested in the outcome than in just the price of the asset, which is what used to be the focus.
Maybe, Miguel, can you tell us the way you see all this trend resonating at Gruphelco in terms of new asset management strategies, and in a larger extent in Spain, as you are driving the Association of Maintenance in Spain?
Pues, ¿qué sucede en España? No lo sé exactamente. Puedo decir lo que sucede en mi empresa y por lo que a mí me está motivando el seguir por este camino, ¿no? Realmente vuelvo a insistir en el tema de los clientes y en el modelo de industria que yo trato, ¿no? Yeah. Están realmente todavía muy atrás. Es decir, yo creo que en nuestro caso vamos un poco por delante de ellos. Hemos tomado muchas iniciativas con productos, en estos casos Schneider y en otros no, porque al final lo que haces es un modelo a tu medida de lo que hay en el mercado y realmente con experiencias muy satisfactorias y de mucho éxito, porque nos hemos encontrado pues con situaciones en las que nuestra acción directa, el cliente no nos lo ha pedido, el cliente no nos ha dicho, oye, manténme la instalación así, manténme la instalación así o ponme, sino que tú has decidido monitorizar una parte de la instalación porque consideras que eso puede ser una experiencia que tú vas a obtener y además puedes decirle al cliente, has visto, como yo he hecho esto, tú has ganado, pero se lo tienes que demostrar. Entonces, las experiencias que hemos tenido, como digo, han sido un éxito, han funcionado muy bien y de hecho ahora los clientes ya empiezan a decirnos, oye, ¿por qué no nos ponéis esto, lo extendéis a más unidades o activos de la empresa? Que nosotros lo estamos aplicando a centros de transformación, a transformadores, que es muy sencillo, lo más básico, ¿no? El tomar medidas, el tomar datos, monitorizar señales, consumos, potencias, relés, en fin. Y realmente yo lo veo como una oportunidad, como he dicho antes, y además veo que los clientes empiezan a motivarse y a intentar tomar ellos la iniciativa. Pero hemos sido nosotros los que hemos tenido que empezar a demostrarse. Ha sido yo creo lo que más nos está gustando.
Have you some example of customers that you are serving where you have addressed such kind of strategy or new models with the benefit that they can get, with your company?
Bueno, tengo algún caso concreto de alguna situación que se ha producido, ¿no? Por ejemplo, si nosotros funcionamos a través de un programa de mantenimiento preventivo en donde hay unos tiempos y unos plazos y hay unas acciones a realizar, pues al monitorizar las instalaciones nos hemos encontrado que muchas veces los activos están tienen indicadores o tienen dispositivos de protección pues que no funcionan siempre a la perfección, funcionan mal. Tú estás, al monitorizar, estás obteniendo información por otro sitio, ¿no? Y nos hemos encontrado que hemos obligado al cliente a decir, oye, intenta parar cuanto antes la instalación porque tienes un problema en la ventilación que no te está detectando el sistema convencional. El día que te lo detecte se te va a parar toda la instalación y tendrás un problema grave. Y entonces eso fue una de las situaciones en las que nos encontramos. Actuamos sobre ella, la pudimos reparar en un momento determinado sin causar ningún tipo de problema a la evolución diaria de la industria y bueno, ya disponemos de ese tipo de experiencias que son realmente exitosas.
Okay, thank you. Maybe Alberto, you want GB, you want to no? Maybe Alberto at Acciona. Can you tell us a bit more on the way that we have understood that you have driven such digitization program? You are focusing on the specific elements on the supply chain and the procurement area. What are the main business outcome goals that you want to achieve by deploying such program or initiative? Especially when it comes to your supply chain.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, we haven't reached the top yet. Okay. Recently, I read in a KPMG trends report. Okay, that today there is no company with a supply chain completely digital, okay? And this is one of the goals Acciona wants to keep. Also, 70% of the implementation about this digitalization supply chain have failed. And one of the main factors is the poor management of the people involved in the digital transformation. Yes. In our experience, it does a big effort to change the minds. Okay, breaking one of the historical phrases of any process. It has always been like this. Okay. Mm. So well, I think it has always been done like this. Yes, it's important. That happened and to planification, our proposal is in the way of a smooth transition to the digital era.
Okay. Maybe GB, can you rebound on what you see in a larger extent, the challenges that the industry are facing when they want to apply such kind of new advancement strategy?
Yeah, I think Alberto made one critical point, which is about the people. The other thing is the processes that surround the asset. Philips Healthcare is here, and I know that company very well, and they have a great story. They produce these big CT scanners. Many of you have been inside these big CT scanners. They're multi-million-dollar pieces of equipment. And large hospital groups may own 30 or 40 or 50 of these assets. And Philips began to be able to connect to the asset, and the very first thing they did was to be able to predict and prevent downtime. And that had a lot of value. But then they also could see the utilization of these scanners. And they began to report to customers about the number of billable scans by piece of equipment by day. And so the hospital could see that the same asset operating in multiple hospitals and maybe multiple assets within one hospital were billing different rates throughout the course of the day. And one of the things that they found is that some of these assets were dramatically underperforming in terms of billable utilization other assets. And do you know why? Because some of these assets, there was only one room for people to change their clothes. So when one procedure was complete, before the next patient could get dressed, the first patient had to go in and put their clothes on. So Philips simply came back and said, you need to add a second room for people to change their clothes. And they increased the billable utilization of these assets by 25 or 30% per day. And so, it is partly about the people, it's partly about the process that sits around the asset. And again, the role of the supplier to say, what is the consistent pattern between top performing assets and not performing assets, and be able to spot these and provide consultative, or other types of services to help deal with the people issue, to deal with the process issues, because it is really the asset plus the people plus the process that create the business outcome.
And okay, so thank you very much. We are close to the end of the session. Maybe we can open now any question. We have a mic, so if you have any question to ask to the panels, just feel free to share with us your insight or any question that you may have. We have a mic that you can distribute. So maybe waiting for the first question, I don't know. Just GB, not as a conclusion, but looking to the relationship between the customers and the supplier or the partner and the development of these new asset management strategies. What are for you the key challenges, the key elements that together we have to solve to be able to develop and to get all the benefits of such new strategies? It's a long question, maybe we can
yeah, and it's got a really short answer, which is data. The data is everything. And what you decide to do with that data will determine how powerful your suppliers are. If you refuse to allow any of that data to leave your physical or virtual four walls, you will be assuming all of the risk from all of your suppliers. If you are willing to let that data go outside your four walls, then suppliers will be able to do amazing things and deliver really impressive business results. Now, you have to trust the supplier. The supplier must have the IT security, they must have the integrity, they must have the right intentions. But assuming that, I think the biggest challenge is this willingness to open up the data about your business to suppliers who can take you to another level.
Okay, thank you.
I highlight the relevance of the data. Okay, in our transformation project, the first step is to get a powerful business intelligence tool will provide us with accurate spend analysis and management indicators. Okay, to will detect in which direction we focus our action plan. I highlight the relevance of the good source of data.
Okay, no, thank you very much. Any specific question that you would like to raise to the panel? Yeah, we have one here.
Hola, buenos días. Yo tengo una pregunta porque todo esto de la gestión de activos me suena a algo que ya existe, es decir, en etapa de que ya tienes una planta funcionando, cómo mejoras, cómo sacas datos, cómo tienes más rendimiento, etcétera, en tareas de mantenimiento de algo que ya existe. ¿Se puede hacer algo a nivel de diseño?
Absolutely. It's a good question. I don't know if everybody. So yes, we can. So the question is about what we can do upstream at the design level. Yes. So the digital services, and when it comes to asset management, and you move up to the capex phase. Yes, we have different possibilities to leverage digital as well, such as the digital twin application. We can anticipate the design of your application, anticipate the behavior of the asset, anticipate the integration of the whole physical, cyber system together that will operate to maximize the outcome of your process. And you can do that upstream thanks to the digital twin application as well, which will be, as you said, let's say, leveraging an optimization of the capex first, construction, and as well an optimization of what will be done during the OPEX phase, all the maintenance cost and the operation cost as well. Absolutely. No, it's okay. So maybe it's time for concluding these panels and this session. So I would like to first thank you very much, all of you, for your time, all your great insights, and all of you for your time with us today. I can invite you to go and to get a very good day first, because we are just beginning, and then to go to your tour to our innovation hub and visit our digital services area as you need. Thank you very much.